Hello, beautiful, beloved twin flames. This is again a problem I've had trying to record this message. I've had some problems with my recording equipment, my computer, my downloading, my making of videos, and also there's been a lot of information to process. There's just been so much information coming through, and for me, being a person who is not particularly, in fact, at all scientific, a lot of this information is kind of like physics and mathematics. I mean, I failed my exams at school, never passed mathematics. And science also was just not my subject. I'm very much into English and history and geography, and just to receive this information has sort of been really blowing my mind. And I was even asking, why are you sending me this? Because I don't have any idea really how to try and translate this. And I kind of got told this reason we're giving you this information is because it's kind of being, it's physics for dummies. And I'm totally including myself in that. So I have had to go and do a lot of research. A lot of this information is already out there, and I will make an apology now, and that if there are any twin flame physicists out there, if you can help me out, I'll be really grateful. I'm definitely not saying that I'm an expert on this. I think where I'm coming from is I'm seeing that there's a balance between, there's a lot of spiritual information, there's a lot of emotional information, there's a lot of soul-based a lot of spirit information about twin flames, a lot of relationship-based information. There is some scientific information out there about twin flames, and this is feeling to me as if it's the spiritual, emotional, relationship side of twin flames being translated into the physics side of things. So I'm going to do my best to explain this. Apologies in advance if it's going to sound really basic to some people, but I'm just going to present the information in the way in which it's been told to me to present, and then whoever resonates with it, fantastic. You're meant to receive this information. If you think it's a bunch of garbage, then just turn the video off and go somewhere else. That's fine. It doesn't worry me at all. So basically, this is kind of, physics. I was going to call it 101, but I'm calling it 111 for the sake of our beautiful twin flames. So the beginning of this twin flame physics lesson today is basically the real basic understanding that we're all made up of energy. Obviously, we're all an energy. That energy is electrons, made up of electrons, and I've put little pictures to go along with this video so that you can see what it looks like. And these electrons, neutrons, and protons all are formed together, and that's what we are basically made up of. So humans are made up of just billions and trillions and lots of numbers of these atoms that vibrate together and create us into a dense form of matter, and that goes back to Einstein's basic theory of E equals mc squared, basically E being energy, energy being translating that to the human is emotion. I would also include thoughts in that, thoughts and emotions, and then how that relates to and how that equals out into matter. So matter being the M equaling matter or mass. So basically matter is obeying the thought or the energy or the emotion, and doing whatever it's been told to do, and sort of coming together and formulating itself in matter, based on the way that the energy is relating to each other, or the subatomic particles. Right. So now I'm going to try and slow this down so that I don't get too lost in myself here. Now the relationship between the way that these subatomic particles or atoms relate to each other creates our electromagnetic field, or our resonance. Okay, and you can see there with the diagram that these particles also hold a negative or a positive charge or vibration as well. So Now, this is all going to start coming together eventually, but this is just important information. I may have pieces missing, and I appreciate that I'm not getting the whole picture yet. This is not the explanation. This is just 111. There's going to be part 1, part 2, part 3 as we go on and learn a little bit more about this, and as more information comes to light, because I do believe this is part of our bridging the polarity, bridging the divide between the information that we already have out there and that we've has been scientifically proven, and the information that I know a lot of spiritual psychics can download and receive directly, but yet we're trying to meet in the middle where we can actually show that these things can be proven, and we're working our way towards that at the moment. And so there are still some bits of puzzles missing. There's bits of puzzles missing from the spirit psychic side of the information being received, and then the science is kind of slowly making its way to being able to scientifically prove through technology and through new methods of scientific experiments and things that we can actually prove things through formulas and experiments and so on. Right, so now where are we up to? So our relationship with the universe, we've got so we've got the whole, atomic structure is the way in which the universe is also operating. It's operating with this negative and positive interaction of atoms and particles and electromagnetic frequencies and waves and vibrations, and also the polarities are important there too, but of the negative and the positive, and then how that gets translated into sort of on a universal level. We've got dark and light, and we've got that described as dark matter. We've got and light particles and waves, and then we've got things like the sun and the moon, and then bring that down to a human polarity level, and we've got what humans describe as being good or bad. We've obviously got the greatest twin flame polarity of all, the masculine and the feminine. And so these two aspects seem to be quite important. And again, physics has given us a theory to explain that as well. And I had to look this up because I kind of knew this stuff, but I needed to remind myself. And we've got Newton's law, third law of I can't remember if it's actually relativity. Sorry, I've written it down somewhere and I've got all these notes, but they're a bit jumbled. But it's basically for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So that's, yes, and that kind of all can relate to the twin flame journey too. And I will get to how that we can explain that within our journey and what we're doing together. Yep. Translating energy into matter. So we've talked about that. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. So at the same time, I was going to mention this, but I'm not quite sure how it exactly fits in. It's just kind of along the side. I haven't quite interfaced it into some of this information, but I was aware that this may have some influence on twin flames, in fact the whole of humanity and the planet, because there's also a cycle of traveling through space and time that happens to the Earth. And we've got this traveling cycle that we have around the great central sun, where the Earth travels away from the great central sun and travels for 25,000 years and goes to the furthest point that it can away from the great central sun, and then it comes and turns around and goes back again for another 25,000 years. And it's apparently, I've read this, and whether we believe it or not, or it's scientifically proven, it makes sense to me, and I think it's related, that when the Earth is the furthest point away from the great central sun, that's when it's known as the period of darkness, and that could also translate into the way that our atoms and molecules are behaving towards each other in terms of the dark matter that's presenting itself in the human form as ignorance and just complete separation from the source, which would be in this case presented as the great central sun. some may wish to see that as source, as in pure love, pure God, source, pure divine energy, however you feel to describe pure love, that source. And then as we come back to the 25,000 years, moving closer to the great central sun, we reconnect with and become more light, and we become pure love again, and we connect back to source. And where we are currently in that cycle is, I think we've got another couple of thousand years or so to go. I can't quite remember where we're up to, sorry, in thousands of years. But what we have done is Earth has currently hit the outer photon belt, which is outside of the great central sun, and that's got amazing amounts of light that have started with the connection with the photons interacting with our subatomic particles that are hitting our light particles and bringing up, for some people that's the light hitting the dark matter can represent itself as all of this kind of seeming negativity coming out now, and everything sort of basically everyone's just seeing it as their shit coming up because it's got the light shining on it. So so that's another part of what's happening now. So how I just want to get into the magnetic properties of the spin of the atoms as well, and because of the way in which atoms relate to each other and how they form together, or how they turn into, they have an electromagnetic current to them as well. So they're either positive or negative. So what am I trying to say about that? Groups of atoms join. So there are certain amounts of, let's just say, this is how we get atoms, a lot of atoms joining together. So you could just say that atoms, meaning humans, where they've got the same kind of atomic structure, where they're all kind of connecting together, and they create a bigger field of magnetic energy where they're all thinking the same kind of thoughts. So you've got those same kind of atoms behaving in a certain way that creates an attraction to each other. And then you've got the force of that attraction, which is bringing them all sort of together. And let's just say if you see, some people can see electromagnetic waves or fields of energy that go out, that would also cause that attraction to happen as well. Now we all know that magnetism is the force of attraction, but also magnetic material can also repulse as well, due to the arrangement of the way that the atoms are arranged. So I've got a picture there where this has sort of had me thinking as well. So how that the same like energy. So if let's just say that in terms of magnetics, we've got the north and the south. We've got the polarities. And in order to create an attraction, you actually need to have the opposite to attract. So that's the attraction. The north and the south attract together to create the magnetic attraction. And then when you've got two of the same polarities together, they actually create the repulsion. So that's kind of weird, right? But in terms of, now I found something really interesting here. So this is related as well, and I think it's all related, but I'm trying to make sense of why it's all related. So maybe if you want to help me out and you know more about this stuff than me, I'd love to hear. So what I also saw when I was researching this was that the north-south, let's just say we've got a very good example on the Earth's polarities. We've got northern polarity, now North Pole, southern polarity, South Pole, and those magnetic poles, no matter how far away from each other they are, they still interact together and create the electromagnetic field around the Earth, right? So check that out. I thought that was pretty amazing. And then another thing that I researched that's connected to this, that's also related to twin flames completely, is now we all know that the yin and yang is very much a sign and symbol. I know it was one of my early ones that's come up and still coming up around my twin flame connection. And the yin we know is female energy. Now, the way that the Chinese described this was that the yin is the feminine, and it's the southern polarity, and the northern polarity is the masculine, the yang. So and then see how they've got that as a wave, like, so that's one of the electromagnetic waves and how they interact together. So you need both of those polarities to interact together. Right, so now I think that's kind of as much as I can get my head around, because my head's about to explode in terms of physics. So now I've sort of found a way to translate that to bring it down to the twin flame journey. Now, I got a lot more of this downloaded today, but I didn't get to a pen fast enough. And as I was doing this meditation, I actually ended up having some physical things happen in my reality world around with my twin flame. So I had to kind of stop doing what I was doing and downloading and actually come into the real and have a connection with him in the real. So that was also really interesting, I found, and I will explain how that happened. So when we talk about the attraction and the repulsion, this can be translated into what happens with the runner-chaser dynamic, or where the twins are repelling each other. This is all about energy. It's all about energy and matter. That's why a lot of twin flame teachers and myself would say that energy work is the most important thing to do for twin flames, and to really notice what's going on with our own atomic structure and what that is going to mean on a bigger level when twin flames actually really get together and blast off and create our fusions together of our subatomic particles. What amazing magnetics and stuff is going to happen when we do that. So what can be getting in the way of that, and what we've got to get past. Some of us have got to get past, myself included in this. So we've got the polarities. Let's just say if we've got an example of two twin flames holding a similar energy of the same equal and opposite same energy, how it could repel each other. So what I'm going to give an example of here is, on one polarity we've got abandonment, fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of betrayal, fear of something bad happening to your twin flame where you're going to lose them. Okay, so that's one end of the polarity. On the other end of the polarity is the same kind of energy, but it comes is presented as a fear of commitment. So you've got the same energy basically running. It's just that there's still a kind of a fear, but it's the opposite. And rather than you're worried about being abandoned, you're worried about getting trapped and having to be stuck in something with someone that maybe you don't really think it's not right, or you're just worried about losing your freedom. So that's kind of like it's still a fear, but it's on the opposite polarity, but it's of the same energy. So that's going to obviously repel. You're going to repel each other. So how to come into because what we're doing is we're harmonizing, we're balancing, we're neutralizing, we're trying to find the place in the middle. And what is the place in the middle that we all know? Everybody, I'm sure you can answer this. Love. And so obviously that first part is the self-love, the commitment to self. So in both of those cases, we're afraid of being abandoned. We need to not abandon ourselves. So that's self-love, gets translated as that. And when we're afraid of commitment, we need to commit to ourselves. We just need to be there for ourselves. So this is a way to neutralize that energy and harmonize. Let's just say that there's another common one that we've got where there's a disappointment, fear of disappointment, of being disappointed that the same thing's going to happen again because the guy always lets me down, or she always ends up doing this or whatever. And on the other side of that, we've got expectation. We've got that this should happen. This is how it should look. And if it doesn't look like that, or just having these unrealistic hopes and expectations. So again, it's the same kind of energy coming from the same source, which is a fear of just things not going your way. And then, that can result in sort of holding on or rejecting, so sort of just not even bothering with it because it just leads to disappointment, or just trying to hold on to something because you expect it to go a certain way, or trying to control it. Okay, so those two energies are the same. They're coming from, let's just say, they're north energies, and they're not, I'm not saying they're masculine, but I'm saying they're going to repel each other. So how to come into a balance of that? Let's try being present. Let's try just being in the moment now, which is, what have I got right now? Have I got myself? Have I got my self-love? Let's try trust. Here's another version of love as well. So that's going to neutralize the energies of those two polarities repelling each other. So now the other thing with magnetics that I have learned about is that when you've got one, I learned about this in magnetics. I was like, wow, this is cool. So if you've got one energy that may be stronger than the other, it can neutralize the other energy. So let's just say for the case of this example, that you've got a positive energy that can be much stronger than the other energy that's not so positive, and it'll cancel that out. It'll cancel out that negative energy. The energy being love. So it may be that you have got one of the twins who is holding more love and neutralized energy in their own energy field, and they're able to send that out, or their energy can be stronger and cancel out the negative energy of their other twin. So you can see that polarity can also work as well. Now I don't want to keep these videos too long, so I just want to kind of just leave it there. I've just read an amazing article, and I might link it to this video because it's really amazing the way she's written her stuff, and she sort of takes it to the next level, which I would go into in sort of part 2, Twin Flame Physics 222. She talked about when we're not stable with our energy fields, it's like our emotions are not stable. They're all over the place, and I guess I would say that as experiencing a lot of fear, so that would express itself as generally a negative emotion. We're scattering our atoms everywhere, and we're not doing what we're meant to be doing, which is neutralizing and stabilizing, harmonizing, creating stable, harmonized electrons flowing into that field. She also showed a beautiful depiction of the eternity symbol. Another reason we get shown this, and I got shown the amazing part of how the atoms, when you see how they cross over each other, I kept getting shown this in my mind before I even found the pictures on YouTube and Google, was when those two circles, or the oblongs of the atom, cross over. You see in the middle how they create a triangle. And you've got, two triangles, a diamond shape. So you've got the two triangles again. Again, all the symbology is here. All the sacred geometry is here. We're being given the symbols, the messages, the information. It's all here for us. It's amazing how we're putting all these pieces of the puzzle together. It's just so amazing. I'm loving this journey. I'm loving the information that's out there. It's at our fingertips. We're just amazing twin flames. So yeah, I think I'll leave it there, and I'll just send you out some really supercharged, powerful, positive and neutral, harmonized energy vibrations of love and peace, and just a lot of positivity for your journey. Just remembering to stay in the love and stay in your center and be with you and your own self-love, so that you can have these amazing harmonics with your twin flame, so we can join our atoms together and create this beautiful nuclear fusion of intense, amazing, beautiful energy to spread around the planet. So that's what it's all about. Okay. Love you all. If anyone would like a little bit more guidance or a session, individualized session with me, just have a look at the links below to my website or my email, and just flick me a message and we can organize a session. I'd love to work with you individually. So yeah. Okay. Lots of love. Bye for now.